Yo people, so Tyson Fury's team have come out in the media, multiple interviews, and stated that Tyson Fury is returning to the UK to fight on December 5th to defend his WBC crown against one of either Agit Kabayel or Carlos Takam, both seeming like underwhelming opponents in comparison to the likes of Deontay Wilder, and with the potential of an Anthony Joshua undisputed showdown in the near future. Interestingly, if you look at the actual top 15, the top 15 WBC heavyweight rankings, Carlos Takam isn't on there. Agit Kabayel sits at number 15, and he's the main guy. I think he's probably the number one target for this fight. Fury versus Kabayel is the most likely option. Kabayel being undefeated, former European heavyweight champion, compared to Carlos Takam, who's, he's lost to Anthony Joshua, lost to Derek Chisora, lost to Alexander Povetkin. So at this point, Carlos Takam is more of a gatekeeper rather than a contender. Whereas Kabayel, he sparred the likes of Fury, sparred the likes of Joshua, and he's defeated the likes of Derek Chisora in the ring. He's a more credible opponent than Carlos Takam for sure. And he's in the top 15 in the WBC rankings. I think the reason Carlos Takam is being considered as Fury's next opponent is mainly because he's signed on I believe a co-promotional deal with Top Rank and Bob Arum, which is the same stable as Tyson Fury. So it'll be an easy fight to make. I don't believe Kabayel is signed to Top Rank. Possibly, I'm not sure. But essentially, Kabayel is a more credible opponent. He's undefeated. I think it would be the better of the two choices. Although to be fair, Carlos Takam versus Tyson Fury will probably be by far the more entertaining fight. Carlos Takam showed against Anthony Joshua that he's willing to leave it all in the ring. And he showed that against Alexander Povetkin as well. Got KO'd by Povetkin. But against Povetkin, he fought like a warrior. And similarly to Anthony Joshua, when he fought Anthony Joshua, I think I believe he broke Anthony Joshua's nose in the first or second round, which was a difficult hurdle to overcome for Anthony Joshua. He eventually stopped Takam in the 10th round, I believe. Yeah, so Takam's a warrior, man. Takam is an entertaining fighter. Whether or not Takan has declined significantly is not clear, but if he did step up in competition to someone like Tyson Fury, you'd probably be able to see that he's declined a little bit. But yeah, as I said before, Agit Kabayel is probably the most likely opponent for Tyson Fury for his British comeback fight on December 5th. Kabayel, as I said, undefeated, former European heavyweight champion, got wins over Derek Chisora. A common opponent in Derek Chisora with Tyson Fury. Obviously, Tyson Fury beat Derek Chisora twice. I mean, the second time Tyson Fury fought Derek Chisora, he really put a beating on Del Boy. A beating. Derek Chisora is a tough fighter, a very tough fighter. It was a poor performance that he put in against Agit Kabayel in Monaco. But I mean, you could argue that Chisora's improved since he fought Agit Kabayel. So it's an interesting dynamic, the common opponent between the two. Tyson Fury, Agit Kabayel, Derek Chisora being the common opponent. I've seen people criticising Tyson Fury for this potential showdown between him and Agit Kabayel, or even Carlos Takam. But to be fair to the guy, if you look at the top 15 in the WBC, you've got Dillian Whyte that's tied up with Alexander Povetkin. He's not fighting Deontay Wilder. You've got Alexander Usyk in there, who's fighting against Derek Chisora this month. At number 3, you've got Ruiz Ortiz. But Ruiz Ortiz is tied up, although he's kind of fighting a journeyman, so he could possibly get out of that fight, pay the guy off maybe, or maybe the contract's not even fully signed, so he could possibly face Tyson Fury. But even Ruiz Ortiz, he's kind of washed up at this point. Being knocked out twice by Deontay Wilder. He's not really got any names on his resume apart from Bryant Jennings, but that was, a good 3, 4, 5 years ago. Then you've got at number 4, Andy Ruiz Jr. Now that could be a good fight for Tyson Fury. Andy Ruiz Jr. It'd be good to see him get another shot at the title, see what he can do. Although Andy Ruiz Jr. is set to fight Chris Arreola in the coming months. Then you've got Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker's a bit pally-pally with Tyson Fury. They seem to be best buddies, so that seems unlikely. Daniel Dubois at number 7. that's unlikely. Daniel Dubois is a bit green. He's a bit raw. He's probably not ready for someone at the level of Tyson Fury. Number 8, Oscar Rivas. That's a former opponent of Dillian Whyte. Oscar Rivas would probably be a less credible opponent than someone like Agit Kabayel, because Agit Kabayel has actually won a European title. He's beat Derek Chisora. He's undefeated. Number 9, Filip Hrgovic. Filip Hrgovic, again, he's still a prospect at this stage. Michael Hunter at number 10. Michael Hunter would be a good fight for Tyson Fury. A very entertaining one, most likely. Michael Hunter, I believe he defeated Tyson Fury as an amateur. So that's got a little bit of history behind it. It's got a little bit of a storyline. But I doubt Tyson Fury would want to take that kind of risk before a showdown with Anthony Joshua. Number 11, you've got Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce is obviously tied up fighting Daniel Dubois. Number 12, Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora is tied up. Number 13, Charles Martin. Charles Martin's not really a credible opponent. You can't really sell Charles Martin to the British public on pay-per-view after, we've seen him get knocked out brutally in the second round by Anthony Joshua, losing his belt. And then number 14, Agit Kabayel, the Nigerian heavyweight, undefeated. He's still a bit green, a bit raw. So he's unlikely to face Tyson Fury. And then number 15, the most likely opponent, Agit Kabayel. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Agit Kabayel. You guys, let me know who you think Tyson Fury is going to face in the comments down below. Please like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more content, and remember to turn on the post notification bell.